Everyone. My name is Caroline Colas, and I'm the Senior Director of Health and Wellness at the Marlene Meyerson JCC Manhattan. Welcome to the Positive Psychology Hour, a partnership with Whole Being Institute and the Marlene Meyerson JCC Manhattan. Today, we're going to be talking about the view from within, positive psychology and spirituality with Donna Miller. Spirituality is associated with many positive emotions that are tenets of positive psychology. Among them are gratitude, optimism, compassion, pro-social connection, mindfulness, flourishing, self-actualization, positive relationships, internal virtues, as well as using our character strengths to pay it forward in the world. In this Positive Psychology Hour with Donna Miller, a Let Your Yoga Dance instructor, we are going to be discussing the ancient wisdom of traditions and philosophies that inspire these values in this season of love, this festival of lights, this dark time of the year that we're looking at the solstice coming up. And it's just going to be an exciting time to discuss meaning and purpose and those kind of things. Donna Miller is an author, teacher, and yoga dance instructor. She holds a master's degree in counseling and organizational human resource development. She's certified by the Positive Psychology Program at Whole Being Institute and has worked there as a teacher's assistant to Tal Ben-Shahar, Megan McDonough, and Maria Serwa. Donna also holds certifications in positive psychology coaching and teaching for transformation, mindfulness, and strength-based practices through UPenn, VIA, and Whole Being Institute. She has additional certifications in women's wellness and meditation from Deepak Chopra, Wayne Dyer, and UCLA. And she has a professorship at the University of Bridgeport in Connecticut, where she is today, where she's calling in from, where she teaches a course on perspectives of happiness and wellness. An expert in positive parenting, education, she will be the first to tell you that everything she has learned was from her wonderful children and grandchildren. Welcome to the call, Donna. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you. Holy smokes, I gotta stop going to school. That's a long list. Except love of learning is one of my top strengths too. So, oh my goodness.
Well, speaking of which, how did you even find the Whole Being Institute and positive psychology in general?
Oh, I can't wait to tell you that story. But before we start, can we do one thing? If
Sure.
it's okay with you, I want to thank you really for having me here, especially at such a beautiful time of year with the Festival of Lights and the day before, right? Tomorrow's the last day of Hanukkah. Yeah, so how special that feels is spiritually. It feels very, very
Happy
beautiful
Hanukkah.
to me. Very beautiful to me. Happy Hanukkah. And so gratitude being one of the character strengths and virtues, actually, that is actually around the world, one of the top strengths that increases our well-being. I'm wondering if I could just put everyone, or if you could put everyone on gallery view for just a second, and we can wave hello to each other and just raise the roof a little bit, getting some more positive, some positive affect going for us here.
Yeah, just give me 1 minute as I figure out how to do that.
Oh, Laxmi, I can see you now. There you are.
All right, let's put us all on. And you can put your, up at the top, everybody, you can go to gallery view. Yeah, and go ahead and wave.
I wanted to, wait, I got to, where are you?
You can scroll through. And just
yes, I can't wait to see everybody. Ah, there we are. Oh my goodness. Hi, I see some familiar faces. Hi, guys.
Hi, so Judy. Hi, Sharon.
Oh my goodness, Donna. And oh, I feel like I have the magic mirror, and I see James, and I see Donna, I see Hannah. This is so great. Oh my goodness. Thank you for joining me today. Oh, this feels terrific. Terrific. Wonderful to see all of you.
Yeah, I just asked everybody to put in the chat what you're grateful for today, right?
Oh, nice,
and we can also start with a mindful pause too. I think I love to do that too. So just put in the chat what you're grateful for today, and then
well, let's see what people are saying. Sunshine, the snow. Okay. Very nice. Oh, Nia, Zoom.
Oh my gosh.
Yes. Not having to travel anywhere.
Sunshine, the snow.
Oh, yeah.
A beautiful walk in Central Park. Being home, safe, healthy, looking at the beautiful snow, the beautiful sunshine, and being here with you all.
Grateful for
Amazing
being
Mia
healthy.
class. Yeah.
Yes, yes, yes. Awesome.
Zoom, someone says. Phoebe said that, I think. Beautiful snow and not losing power. Yes. I was a little worried about that.
Yeah,
Didn't know
last night, it had me sweating just a little bit.
Yeah.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful.
Yeah.
Well,
Grateful for not having COVID. Mhm.
yeah, oof, yes.
All right, so let's go ahead, everyone. I'm going to spotlight me for just 1 minute, and then let's inhale. Our arms, you can lift them as high as it feels good to you. It could be low. Just take a big stretch. Inhale and exhale. Maria Serwa and Megan McDonough talk about taking 3 deep breaths.
That's right. There's magic in 3 deep breaths.
And one more time, everyone. Nice.
I want to congratulate you. Didn't you just graduate from Whole Being Institute, Caroline?
Yes, I did. I did.
Welcome to the tribe.
Thank you.
Or
Thank
to
you.
the revolution, right? They
Yes.
call it the happiness revolution. I know I'm in it for life, and I hope all of you join us too. But congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And I have, paying it forward, Rachel, who's on the call, one of the calls, she told us on Tuesday that she actually signed up for the SIP program. And I'll put it in the chat, you guys. You can sign up. Their next cohort is in February, and it's an amazing program.
Oh my goodness.
It's an amazing
Yeah.
program.
Yeah.
So let's get started.
Yes, I'll tell you that story. So how did I get into whole being? Well, after years of touring as a blues singer, which I think, as I look back now, to do today, I did a lot of introspection, and I realized my strength of spirituality was even alive then, because I would tour. I toured the country and parts of Asia, and I wanted to meet the people that lived there and go to their spiritual worship places of worship and get to know, what their culture was. So it wasn't just about singing the blues, it was really about spiritually connecting with these people around the world. And I was young then, I was in my 20s, so I didn't realize what was happening, but the desire was there. I went on, my children got a little older, and my son said one day, I think he was approaching 13, and he said, I don't want to live in a tour bus anymore, Mom. I'd like to, I want a girlfriend. And I want to be on a football team, and I don't want to travel with music anymore. So I was like, oh, okay, I guess I need to go back to school. So I went to college for social work, because while I was touring, I had the opportunity to stay at an Indian reservation in the Midwest with the Navajos for a little while. Actually, they were very kind to me. I had a broken down vehicle, and they came to my rescue. And then I, in turn, invited them to a concert. And when I got to the place for the concert, the people weren't going to let them in because they were Native American. And they were so these guys, they got suits for the affair, and of course they had the hair all the way down to their waist, and um, in Navajo tradition had the beads and things. And I was on stage, and I remember saying to the producer, we don't go on if they don't come in, because you could see, all the way to the door. So they let them in and brought them right to the front table. And because of this exchange, this reciprocity of kindness that was going on, they invited me to the reservation. And I spent a day there, and their mom was almost 100 years old, and she had made dolls for every decade that explained what was going on in that. And it was way back to even when the persecutions were happening, the wars. So I got to understand a little bit about the depth of their pain and their longing, but also their incredible spirituality, their love and gratitude. And they brought me to the Native American burial grounds and let me pray with them. So I was in my 20s. I had no idea really what was happening then. But now, after studying positive psychology and looking back and understanding character strengths and Spire the way that I do, I get it. I get what was happening. So anyways, after that, I went on to go to school, and for my internship, I was an adjunct professor, and then they offered me a professorship, and I started teaching, and I didn't want to teach social work anymore. I wanted to teach what was working with people instead of looking at what their problems were. So I was at a faculty development day, and someone was talking about Tal Ben-Shahar and the course he had taught in Harvard and what he was going to do at with Whole Being Institute at Kripalu. I didn't know how, but I had to go. So I went to my board of directors at the time for this small nonprofit agency that I was directing, and I said, I've never asked you for anything. I'm asking you to send me to this course. And they hemmed and hawed a bit because it's a nonprofit, but they sent me. It was like a day before that registration ended. And I said, look, guys, this is it. Either you send me or I don't go. And they said, all right, you're going. And what happened next was I brought everything I learned to that agency. And that agency became one of the top in Connecticut because we focused on its strengths. We focused on families' strengths. Our interventions changed. We developed programs. We strengthened families. And they're still, I retired so that I could do what I'm doing now. But they're still going strong. They're still going strong.
So tell everybody who you sang for so they know.
Oh my goodness. Okay. It's a
Just
very long list. It's a very long
a
list.
few, so that they know what was going on.
Very long list, just like this darn education of mine that never ends. Well, I guess the main ones are Bonnie Raitt and Willie Nelson, Huey Lewis. I mean, it was just like Jerry Garcia, but he fired me after one night. Because I sing on key and I can't hear, and he sings just under the note, so I kept making him sound flat. So he was like, you cannot sing with me anymore. Broke my heart. But it was great fun, and to be on tour and to see the country that way and to be with music, because music is so energizing and uplifting. And I know I sang the blues, but it was still energizing and uplifting. And great fun.
Well, and then I loved your story about your connection with the Navajo Nation and how that sort of talks about there's moments in life where you didn't predict that, to happen.
No.
It did. And out of that came such an amazing connection. So everybody's saying, we want you to sing for us.
Oh my goodness. Am I here to sing today? Let's see.
Maybe
what can
at
I
the
sing?
end.
At the end. We'll see. Okay, so let's start. The View from Within, Spiritual Pathways to Unshakable Happiness, is the book that just went to print, and we're very excited about it. The team at Happily Ever Actions, this small happiness business that has been a goal and has now come to fruition with the help of many people. Nice team of people that are like-minded. And, what I wanted to do today was talk to you about the journey that I had to go on in order to create this. What happened was when I retired, I wanted to start this business called Happily Ever Actions, right? And I called Tal, of course, and said, I've got this idea. What do you think of it? And he said, well, come to New York and I'll meet with you, because he's so generous, right, with his time. So I get in my car and I'm driving to New York, and an 18-wheel tractor trailer sideswipes me. You know, the kind of tires with those like spikes coming out of them, right? Cut the passenger side of my car open like a tuna fish can. And so he kept going. I'm not even sure he knew he hit me. I pulled over, looked at my car, saw it open on the right side, and said to myself, do I call the police and deal with this and miss my meeting with Tal, or do I go and meet Tal Ben-Shahar? And so I got in my car and drove that car to New York. And when I pulled in, Tal comes out of the hotel room to greet me. And he's got this big smile on his face. He's looking at me. And then he looks at my car and his entire face dropped. And I got out of the car and said, "This just happened. I don't drive like this all the time." And he said, "That shows me perseverance. Come on in." So immediately he focused on character strengths, and to have his mentorship and his opinion, when he said, "You have to do this." He took 2 hours to read through the business plan and then said, "You have to do this." So I went back all excited and I'm going to get this going. And I met with a backer and she paid for a TED Talk coach. And we're off and running. We're going to make this happen, this unshakable happiness business, right? COVID hits. So now we can't go anywhere. TED Talks are closed for a year at least, maybe 2 going out because they have to use these speakers they had planned before COVID hit, right? So I'm isolated. All my children, I have 5, like I told you, 5 children and 7 grandchildren. They're all grown up, but they're in public service and they can't come near me. So I'm home and I start to say, well, I need to write about this then. If I can't talk about it and I can't get out there and teach it right now, I've got to write about it. So I started a book called Unshakable Happiness. And I was very excited about it. But the more I started writing about happiness, I thought, I have to pay attention to what's going on right now. And I needed resiliency. I needed to talk about coping. I needed to talk about positive psychology from a spiritual point of view. And spirituality is one of the main tenets of positive psychology. So that's where the view from within started. And then I started talking about it with this dear friend of mine who has me at his house right now with Joe. And he's a world renowned photographer. He's gone around the world taking these pictures of incredible spiritual places, temples, synagogues, churches all around the world. And he said, well, why don't we collaborate? You use the pictures and write about positive psychology and spirituality. And there, the view from within began. And it's part of a trilogy going into Unshakable Happiness. And the last book is about love and connection. So that's how this started. Phoebe, if you want to change the slide, there you go. Recently, Phoebe Atkinson, who is another one of my role models, leaders, teachers in this world, and Heart Connection, sent me the research that was done in September of 2020. So current, so very exciting. And it's called In Decoding of the Human Spirit, a synergy of spirituality and character strengths towards wholeness. So, Whole Being Institute focuses on our wholeness, our health, our well-being, and it all seemed to be coming together. And the science of spirituality, actually, they started studying that. Martin Seligman did a piece in 2005 talking about, the undeniable connection between character strengths and spirituality, and actually that our strengths form pathways for us to find more meaning and purpose in life, to develop a life worth living, to become whole and healthier. So mind, body, and spirit, just like what you teach, Caroline. So if you would like to change the slide again, we come to Spire. So Caroline, you're very well, you've been practicing this a lot, right? With Whole Being Institute.
Yes.
And I'm sure a lot of you have heard about Spire, and Spire actually are the elements that help us to live a whole life, a life of whole being. So spirituality, leading a meaningful life and mindfully savoring the present, which we'll do some of today in this Lunch and Learn. Physical, caring for your body. I know for me, when I started studying with Whole Being Institute, spiritual was high for me. Intellectual, always, because I can't stop. If there's something to learn, I've got to be sitting front row at your feet learning it. Relational, I needed to work on a little bit because my relationships were okay, but I certainly wanted them to be strong. And emotional, self-regulation was my last strength. Ah, so I had a lot of work to do with that. Um, and it was interesting to me that as I went through the elements, I tied spirituality into almost all of it, because if I'm going to live a meaningful life, I'm going to care about myself physically, right? I'm going to want to learn the best things that can lead me to being a really good person, to do the next right thing, to see the good in others. Relationally, I want the connections to be based on what's real and authentic, without judgment, without expectations, without me saying, I'll be in a relationship with you as long as, without any of those strings attached. And I needed to learn about that. And then again, emotionally, my kids tell me, I cry at reach out commercials. So, emotionally, emotionally, okay, yeah, that's something I need to learn to regulate. Still working on that one. So all of these elements were very important in me figuring out who I really was going to be in this world and how I was going to bring that forward and show up. And then we learned about our character strengths. And Ralph Waldo Emerson said, the foundations of a person are not in matter, they're in spirit. And you find your pathways to your spirit with these virtues and using these strengths and a combination of them. So if any of you have not gone to the VIA character strengths .org site and taking the survey, do yourself a favor, because then you start living from what's working in you instead of what you feel inadequate about, right? So wonderful way to go. Okay, via character.org. Yes, Phoebe put it in the chat for everybody, and it's free. Thank you, Phoebe. All right, going on. So Joe and I, the photographer I was telling you about, started our own Eat, Pray, Love journey. Now, it was COVID, and we were so you'll see masks on a lot of people. But I didn't feel like I could really just read about the wisdom traditions, the religions, or I wanted to experience them. Again, I'm an experiential learner. And so I called around to find places that would actually let us in to their places of worship and would talk to us about their spirituality. And this is Rabbi Dan Salzberg. What an amazing man. His temple is in Bridgewater, New Jersey. And as you could see here, he was talking to me about, this is part of the interview, Joe snapped his picture. He was talking to me about his heart, his love for what he knows about Judaism and the ancestral background. And he showed us names on the walls of centuries of people that have been connected to this temple. I didn't realize that in Judaism, it's so community based and everyone is family. And oh my goodness, I didn't want to leave. I did not want to leave. This man had me um, feeling the good life, feeling spirituality very strongly. Go ahead, Phoebe, change the. And I wanted you to have this picture. This is one of the ones that's in the book. But as we were there, the light shone through and there was this incredible rainbow on the wall. And I thought, there's nothing more beautiful. And because it's Hanukkah too, I know it's not lit up because it was a little earlier when we were there doing this interview, but I thought this was a gorgeous picture to share with you today for Hanukkah. Yes, who said that? There's a lot of overlap between Judaism and Buddhism. Absolutely, absolutely. I'm learning that. And we're going to show you a little bit of that too. Now, these are the Torahs. He opened up the Ark of the Covenant, and inside were the Torahs. And what was so magnificent about these is he said a few of them to the left were over 300 years old. And the one all the way to the right was rescued from Nazi Germany in World War II. And I still get chills when I think about that. It's so generous of him to share this with us and to let us take the images. And he spent a good 3 hours with us that day. If I lived in Bridgewater, I might be converting. He was wonderful. So then we studied a little bit with the Muslims, a woman that has an organization called Our Common Beliefs, met with us, and we talked about the Muslim faith, its connection to other faiths, and also about Sufism and the way they express religion in spirituality, in their dance, in their poetry. And we're familiar with Rumi, right? And with Hafiz, who have given us lots of beautiful poetry. And the expression here, you know, Tal Ben-Shahar wrote recently in a speech that he had done for the Happiness Studies Academy. How did you find these people? Elaine is asking. You know, that's a good question. It was just a search, and whoever answered the calls, because of COVID, a lot of people did not return calls, but those that did, we went and met with them. And we took a lot of road trips. Joe's adding over here. We did. We took a lot of road trips to meet them. And Joe had already previously been around the world and gotten a lot of these beautiful pictures. So this, I think, is interesting because Tal had said, like I said recently, that part of the beauty of spirituality is the song, is the rituals, I know for me, sometimes when I go into a church, the smell of the incense and the candles just immediately brings you into a place of spiritual awareness, right? So I love that they whirl themselves into this place where they are just connected to the divine. I think it's an amazing thing, amazing way to express your spirituality. And here's Joe taking a picture. I just wanted to throw him in there so you guys knew who he was. and he, yeah, it got a little whiter. I don't know, it's the way it came in the PowerPoint, but here's Joe taking a picture of a Mormon church in Hartford, Connecticut. And we had a great chat with Stacy and Tom Young from the Brigham Young family, who are in Utah, and they taught us a lot about their sense of community and reaching out. What is Joe's last name? His last name is Bologna. Joe Bologna.
Like the city in Italy.
Yes, like the city in Italy. Okay, would love to connect with you more. Okay, we will check that out. We will definitely check that out after the show. This was taken in Budapest, and it's of the Holy Trinity. And the focus here was on love and forgiveness. And Jack Cornfield recently, are you familiar with Jack Cornfield, Caroline? Yes, of course. Jack Cornfield recently, who is the current Bodhisattva, and we're going to get to him in a minute, said that forgiveness is one of the stones, the obstacles that keep us from really clearing ourselves spiritually so that we can live the good life, so that we can move towards right-mindedness and towards better behaviors and better relationships, all connected to positive psychology, so that we can use our strengths more. Because when we stay in a state of unforgiveness, we carry all the lower emotions of bitterness, anger, resentment, and it's very difficult to get into the higher emotions of love, forgiveness, compassion, kindness, when we're feeling that way. So again, this was taken in Budapest, and I thought it was beautiful because it shows the entire story right there in that column. Now this, you remember me talking about being with the Navajos when I was in my 20s. Well, here I am in my 60s, and Joe, could I get some water? I'm sorry. This is Sharon white fawn. Sorry, got a little dry in here. Too much heat. She is the clan mother of the Bear Clan in Connecticut, the Pagasa tribe. When I wanted to speak with her, she was about to do a 2-day retreat on her reservation for women on spirituality, and she invited me to come.
And no photos.
And so we had to pitch a tent and stay on the reservation. But she taught me about the Great Spirit and how the Great Spirit is always with us. She talked about Father Sky and Mother Earth and how Mother Earth is constantly providing us beauty and nutrition. No matter what's going on in the world, you know, we could watch the news and our thoughts could get pulled one way or another, and we could spend an entire day worrying. But if we were to step outside in nature, and again, positive psychology talks about this, we could get grounded, we could renew ourselves, right? So nature and gratefulness to them is really important. One of the mornings, so early, and I'm not an early morning riser, I'm a night person. One morning, sun wasn't up yet, and I hear this drumming. I'm in my tent, I'm like, oh my goodness, what could this be? I open my tent, and the tribe had come, the men of the tribe, all dressed in their regalia, with the drums, in the language, in the Native American, to give thanks to the women, to mothers, to sisters, to aunts, to all the women, and to Mother Earth. And I just, again, all of these experiences, you have to write about them. It unifies us all in wanting to live a good life, in wanting to be our best, right? And in wanting to be there for the world. So this was a wonderful experience. And there she is chatting with me on the reservation. Now, to our feet in the bottom there, that round circle, that's the chief. That's where he was buried. I had no idea that they buried them right there on the reservation. So I had to be careful where I was walking when I found that out, because when you found the stones around, and they call it plating, you see there's ziti on top of his grave with a cup of coffee, his favorite thing. She feeds him every day. She feeds her ancestors. It's part of their spiritual belief. They bring their food out and feed the ancestors. So a very interesting experience. So here I want us just to take a step back for a minute. Appreciate the beauty that we're looking at in this sunrise. And this is in Mexico. Yes, in Mexico. And for just a moment, think about the awe that you experience in a sunrise or a sunset. That is true mindfulness, right? Before we even knew what mindfulness was, you sit in front of this beautiful, beautiful sight and you say, every one of my senses is just present right here, right now. Isn't it true? So if you were to sit for just a second and just reflect on this, and maybe the colors you see in the sky or the way the water is waving towards you, you can see the path coming down from the sunlight. I just wonder what you're noticing. And how it makes you feel. Anyone want to write in the chat box? I miss the beauty, tears in my eyes and yearning. Yes, yes. So we'll be out there again. Spring is coming soon. And actually, there have been some really beautiful sunsets recently. Have you seen them? Bright, fiery red and orange. Yes, Phoebe, you can change. I see your thing going. Love the colors in the sky, the golds and pinks. Yes, winter sunsets are often spectacular. That's true. Bring a laptop outside. Yes, very restorative, grounding. Beautiful, Lois, you're a painter. So here again, just a little more mindfulness for us in this Lunch and Learn. Take a look at this flower. Notice what you see. Notice what your body's telling you. How do you feel? I see the corners of some mouths going up. Continue to look at it and see how many different colors you can find in that. How many different shapes, textures. So Sharon and the Native Americans taught me in those 2 days that I was there that all of our ancestors live in nature, and that no matter what is going on in the world, no matter how crazy things are, we're living in a pandemic, we're going through kind of that dark night of the soul with all of this. This flower looks like perfection. Thank you, Lisa. Um, this is nature, and it shows up for us every day. Every single day. We just have to notice it. But it's always there for us, always. Love of beauty and excellence, yes. And one of my top strengths as well. Yours too, I imagine. Okay, switch, go ahead. So now we're with Buddhism, and I spent some time with a lovely family from Laos, Buddhist family. And this was one of the quotes I actually put in the book because I think it's just perfect for what we try to study in positive psychology, right? May you fashion your life as a garland of beautiful deeds. Imagine if we thought of that every day. In fact, Tao tells us to put notices up, reminders of our ideal self and things that we aspire to. I might have to put that one up on my window today, on my mirror rather. May you fashion your life as a garland of beautiful deeds. Imagine setting that as your intention every day. Imagine right today, maybe right in the chat box, what is one thing you could do today that would be a beautiful deed you could add to your garland? We're decorating for this season, this festival of lights and all of the things outside of us that are so beautiful. What about inside of us? What is a beautiful deed that maybe you could do today? A random act of kindness. Anybody want to write in the chat box and let us know? Think about that for a minute. Oh yeah, acceptance of self and compassion, complimenting, yes, appreciation for each other, absolutely. Donate to Voto Latino. Yes, donate, give. Connect with an old friend. Beautiful. Maria Serra calls this grace-filled moments, right? When all of us share together and we're all uplifted by the grace and the beauty of what you're saying. Empathize with all the help shovel some snow. There you go. Connections and community. So this giant Buddha, Joe took this picture in China. And if you take a look at how tiny the people are, it's just an amazing sight to see. The Zohar tells us that our good deeds weave the garment of the soul that clothes us in the next life. Oh, that's beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. Okay, Phoebe, you can move us along. So this is the family that invited us into their home. I didn't have to go to India to have my Eat, Pray, Love journey like the movie suggests. Really, our neighbors, people all around us are filled with such amazing, good wisdom and beauty to share with us. Just all we have to do is open our eyes and embrace a little bit of our differences in order to meet each other and embrace each other and learn from each other and celebrate together. It's, you know, as I did this, and, you know, I was raised Catholic, and I thought to myself, how stifling it has been to think that I could take the divine, the creator of all, or spirituality, and pigeonhole that into one concept. You know, it's got to be more immense than any of us can really imagine, but we live it in our own way and we work it in our own way, which is our connection and our pathway. But I found now in embracing all of these different religions and spirituality, I'm more grounded in who I am and how I connect with my spirituality, more grounded in it. It didn't make me go away from my beliefs. In fact, it reinforced a lot of my faith and my belief because there was such commonality. We all want the same things. We all want love. We all want connection. We all want to experience gratitude. So they were showing me these bowls in their tradition, in the Buddhist tradition, were celebrated at their wedding, and that was her outfit that she wore. He put his sash on. He had shorts on. He didn't want to get dressed all the way. But they would fill this with generous things that they wanted to share. I had a lovely visit with a person who lived in Morocco. Nice. And we sipped tea, and what's the rest of that? Missed the rest of that. Beautiful. Now, upstairs, this was her own little temple that she had created for herself. And I thought, again, she brought a lot of this over from Laos and was just very beautiful, very symbolic of her sacred space and how she prayed and how she calmed herself and how she was able to fill herself with love to give to others, is how she explained it. So here's the Bodhisattva. And this is a temple. If you look at all his faces, he looks in every direction. It's an ancient temple in Cambodia. And he's someone that's on the path of awakening. So he studies Buddhism, but he doesn't let himself reach nirvana to move on for himself, or the ultimate state, because he wants to live in compassion towards all beings. So like I said, Jack Cornfield, Pema Chodron, they are our current day bodhisattvas. And so if you look them up, and you listen to some of their wisdom, they talk about compassion. And it's interesting because their compassion is for the victim, but also for the perpetrator, because they consider us all one. And again, as difficult as that concept is, it's the right way. We are all one. Yes, that's what I'm learning. That's for sure. Okay, go ahead, move on. Now, this was such a gorgeous temple, and the sky was so moody this day. Again, we were in Bridgewater, and this is a Hindu temple. And the head of the temple was not in that day, but one of the priests came out and said that his words of wisdom were, time has a wonderful way of showing us what really matters in ourselves, and that peace is the ultimate goal. Jack Cornfield is great to listen to on loving kindness. Yes, absolutely. So again, so close to us, right? In New Jersey. This is gorgeous. We spent hours here. It was so beautiful. The architecture was gorgeous too. Move on. This is from the Tao. This is a Taoist temple in China. I think Joe took this. And what they were saying was, at the center of your being is the real answer. You know who you are and what you want, and you've known it all along. And that's from Lao Tzu, from the Tao. What was the place in New Jersey? It's a very long name of that temple in New Jersey. If you could get it for me, I'll give it to Caroline later, and she can, or we could put it in the chat. I'll get that for you. It's a very long name. It's in the book, but it's in the book. I listened to Wayne Dwyer talk about, and he was one of my teachers, lucky enough to study with him while he was still with us on the planet. And he was talking about the way of the Tao. And he also walked in the footsteps of St. Francis, and he also studied Buddhism, and he, again, unified all faiths in this one thing, love and compassion. And that seems to ring true even in people who study the universe. Love and compassion is the top two things that all the commandments talk about. But I thought this is interesting, how it's built all up. The monks live all up in the side of this mountain, and that's where they find peace and do their meditation. And think about the world and how they can make it better. Okay, so I'm not watching time. I don't know who is, but okay, we have a little bit of time left. Good. So for a second, I wanted to show gratitude again to the experts. Ryan Niemiec taught me about character strengths and mindfulness. I took his course on that. And the people that he did this recent article on spirituality and positive psychology, I think, they've got their finger on the pulse. And of course, Dr. Tal Ben-Shahar is a mentor, will always be. How do I say that? Can I have that here? Venka. Okay, the temple is called Sri Venkateswara. Venkateswara Temple in Bridgewater, New Jersey. Okay. So Dr. Tal Ben-Shahar was my first, the Whole Being Institute was my first real exposure to positive psychology. And it's become my religion, should I say. My pathway to my faith, absolutely. Living a good life. Maria Sarah was the heart of the teaching there, I felt. Megan McDonough, just, so powerful, such a powerful woman that shared all of her brilliance with us. And Phoebe Atkinson leads us in a way that was so warm and connecting. And the whole team, actually, Jennifer Hannawald, who I know has been on your show as well, has coached, done some health coaching with me. What a team at Whole Being Institute, what a team. So Martin Seligman, now that's interesting. Martin Seligman I didn't get to meet, but when I started teaching perspectives of happiness at the university, I emailed him. In one of his books, he has an email. So I emailed him because I had a question. He got back to me within like 20 minutes. I don't know how he did that, but complete stranger. But that's one of the things that I love about this tribe. There is no real competition. Instead, there's community. Everybody wants everybody to live their best life. Yes, thank you, Elaine, for putting that up. Thank you. And I apologize for my pronunciation. If I had my way, everybody would sound like they were Italian. That's just my upbringing. I'm sorry. So Martin Seligman, I just thought that was extremely generous of him. But then in the positive psychology or science of happiness, I have found everyone to be extremely generous. And I certainly extend that as well, reciprocal in that way as well. And these are some of the people that we were able to interview. So Rabbi Dan from the Temple Shalom, Father Seraphim, I don't know, his picture didn't show up here. Father Seraphim, very interesting. I was watching a documentary on Sister Faustina and some of her visions about the Divine Mercies. And at the end it said, Father Seraphim, Divine Mercy Shrine in Massachusetts. So I thought, okay, well, we drove to New Jersey. Why not try that? We drove to New York, New Jersey, Connecticut. Why not go out to Massachusetts? So I called, and he said he would meet with us. This man is almost 100 years old. When he came walking out, it was like a little tiny stick with his clothes flapping in the breeze. He was so frail. I was like, oh my goodness. And we can't go in because of COVID. But he was the guy. He was the guy that knew Sister Faustina in Poland, brought her diaries to the Pope. And the Pope did their investigation to see if the visions and the miracles were valid, evidence-based, and they were. And then he was the guy that went to Italy and worked with the scientists on the Shroud of Turin. And I thought, and he's right here in Massachusetts. It's just amazing to me, these incredibly beautiful spiritual individuals all around us.
I think I did give you that photo.
I know you gave it to me. I just don't know why it's not on here. So, and then Sister Terry Martin from the CND. And this is where I'm getting some of my lessons right now in an associate's program to the sisters of the Congregation of Notre Dame. And they are service oriented. They are about visitation. They're about they went to the border to help the refugees. Wherever they're needed in the world, wherever they can bring some education, like the Bodhisattva wants to teach with compassion and love, and they're the same way. The sisters want to get out there and teach with love and compassion, and improving my spirituality, absolutely. Clan Mother Sharan, White Fawn from the Pagosset tribe, still in touch today. In fact, Caroline, last week I taught a Let Your Yoga Dance class to the indigenous peoples. We had over 30 of them on Zoom learning Let Your Yoga Dance. So that was
Wow.
that was fun. And then Ola Nocier is the Islamic founder of our Common Beliefs. She had us to her home. Very generous of her. And Matriarch Kyola was the woman that you saw in the pictures. And then that is, oh, there it is. I had it right here on Meet the Experts, the name of the temple. So those are the experts that got the view from within written. And here's what I found out. Many theologies are really pointing to this time in our history as an opportunity to rise to higher states of being. Every one of these leaders in their faiths greeted us with open arms. They wanted to talk about their spirituality. They wanted to talk about happiness. They wanted to talk about love, connection, community, all of them. We actually interviewed about 20, and I couldn't put them all in this PowerPoint today, but amazing. And I'm sure there's more, but we settled on 20. So I love this quote, and I wanted to end with this quote, and then maybe take some questions or feedback from you. But and I don't know if I can read it all with the names up there, but let me see if I can move my script. Let me put this at the bottom. It'll go. Maybe someone else can read it that can see
I
it.
can read it for you.
Thank you, Caroline.
Someday, after mastering the winds, the water, and gravity, we shall harness for God the energy of love. And then, for the second time in history, we will have discovered fire. Pierre Teilhard de Chardin.
Isn't that a gorgeous quote?
It's amazing. It's beautiful. Wow.
And this is the book. I'm so proud of this. Since you can read, can you read Tal's quote for me,
Sure.
Caroline? Because
Absolutely.
I can't. My pictures are up there.
Absolutely. A spiritual life possesses both breadth and depth like an ocean. And like the ocean that connects nations and continents, a spiritual life connects us to all beings near and far. In The View from Within, Donna, Martine Miller, and Joseph Bologna gracefully and beautifully bring together different spiritual traditions. Their work connects, inspires, and heals. Dr. Tal Ben Shahar.
So, you know, that's the book one in the Unshakable Happiness trilogy. I'm looking forward to collaborating with authors from SIP, Caroline, that may want to be part of the next book called Unshakable Happiness, and then the third, which is about love and connection. So.
Wow. Well, thank you so much. I feel like I took a moment out of time. Your pace, your photographs, Joe in the background.
Joe's in the background, yes.
Yes.
Say hi, Joe.
Us. Hey,
Hi,
Joe. You know, we could feel the love and the connection and the elevation of spirit. So I just thank you so much for giving me, like the snow, you know, when the snow falls, there's such a quietness. And then I felt like my heart was able to slow down for a minute. And Jody says, yes, the pace was amazing. Yes to all, Caroline said. So if anyone has any thoughts or comments, let us know about this as well.
Okay, Christine, I look forward to meeting you.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wonderful. Oh, sing. She wants a song.
Well, it is
Okay.
the season.
Okay,
Do you have a bluesy song to sing?
I'll sing to Joe here. I'll sing a little hallelujah to you, Joe. How about that? Let me tell you about this guy I know. He's my baby, Lord, I love him so. In the morning when the sun comes up, he brings me coffee in my favorite cup. And I know, yes, I know, hallelujah, I just love him so. The end. Without without a guitar
All
here.
right. That's awesome. Awesome. Thank you for that.
Thank you. Thank you. This
So
has
Hannah
been,
says, yeah, Hannah says, with this book, your venerable arms now encircle the whole world in a loving hug.
oh, Hannah. Hannah's going to be in the next book with us too, she has said. She's already accepted.
Awesome. Awesome. So let's put everybody on gallery view so we
How do we
can,
connect to you? Elaine, in the last slide is my website and also how you can pre-order the book. So Phoebe has the slides and she can mail them out to people and
yeah, we'll be doing that tomorrow.
yes.
So I just want to read some feedback to you. Compassion, acceptance, love of beauty and each other, so calm. It feels like a tour in world religion and spiritual well-being. Excellent presentation. With this book, of course, we know that your arms are now encircling the world in a loving hug. Thank you. Great class. Thank you. How do we connect to you? Amazing, gorgeous, great presentation. Love the photos. The book sounds so good. Thank you. Slides will be emailed to you tomorrow, everybody. No worries about that. Thanks so much. And Caroline, can you unmute everybody at the end? I think I can. It's ironic how you went from singing the blues to positive psychology.
It's true.
That's true. Do you think that there's a link there?
Listen, singing the blues is really joyful and fun. I mean, I guess you have to have experienced it to really sing it. But then in positive psychology, you can't know happiness unless you've known sadness and fear. And we don't negate the other emotions, right? We just use our character strengths, combine them with the spire elements, and figure out ways to cope.
Right. In fact, as Tall says, there's one channel, right?
That's right.
So you got to feel it all.
That's
Yeah,
right.
absolutely.
That's right.
We do have, I wanted to make sure that everybody knows, next week, we're not quite sure what we're doing. I think Mega from Let Your Yoga Dance is going to come and dance with us on Thursday. And then on Tuesday, there'll be a little bit of surprise. It'll either be a recording or we'll do something else, a special. So stay tuned. We'll know that soon and we'll send that out with the email. And then we'll start again in January. We have our annual New Year's Day festival. Please sign up for that. And of course, if you're interested in learning more about positive psychology, I cannot recommend the SIP program enough. It is life-changing, and to be part of an organization, a tribe, an experience where for 9 months you get to be learning and growing together in a way that is just so mutually nourishing and supporting is really extraordinary. And there's a link to $100 off, and there's a giving circle that the Whole Being Institute donates to the JCC for every time someone signs up through the Lunch and Learn program. So please consider that. Yeah, Elaine says, take the course. So
yeah, join the happiness revolution. Absolutely.
Okay, so I believe, I think you can unmute yourself, everyone. Try that.
Oh, yes, let's see everybody. Let's see more people. Let me get to gallery.
Can you unmute or no? Okay, so hang on, let me just do this. You should be able to, so hang on 1 second. Now try it again, unmute yourselves, including you too, Donna. All right, let me see. Do I have to ask you to unmute? Ask to unmute.
Okay, yes.
Ask to unmute.
Sorry about the snow here.
See if that works.
Thank you.
Now works. Thank you, Donna.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Great.
Thank you, Donna.
Thank you, Donna.
Thank you, Hanukkah.
Happy Hanukkah, everybody.
Thank
Bye,
you.
everybody. Yes, there's more
Bye.
screens to go to. Hi.
Beautiful.
Yes,
Donna.
here,
Thank
I'll
Thank you.
mute anybody
Thank
else.
you.
Thank you, Caroline.
You're
Thank
so welcome.
you, Caroline.
Enjoy the
was
solstice.
great.
Thank
Everybody.
you, Phoebe.
It was
Thank
beautiful.
you.
Namaste. Namaste.
Namaste.
Namaste. Namaste, everyone.
Sister friends, yeah.
All right.
Thank
Much
you.
happiness. Take care of yourselves. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mwah.
Mwah.